Hello there and welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is a place where we talk all things personal development, personal growth, all in this pursuit of living a life that makes us individually proud. Hi, my name is Natasha and I am so lucky to be here with you today. Oh my gosh, I just don't know. Some days are just, I don't know, right? And that's okay. We don't always have to know. Today's subject I really want to talk to came kind of impulsively. It was something that came out of left field and I really didn't anticipate, having anything. So today is about, again, the fragility of life and enjoying exactly where you are and appreciating everything that has transpired, everything that has happened and occurred that has brought you exactly to this unique moment. And here's the thing, the only thing that is real is right here, right now. This is the only thing. Everything else that's in the past, we can't go back. That's a memory. It's nothing, right? And where we're sometimes often spending our time is in the future, right? Like when we're worrying or we're anxious, we're planning, we're living in the future. But when we hone everything back in and focus on being really present in the present, that's the only real thing. That is what my uncle had taught me. And it took me a long time to understand that concept. I'm like, no, all that stuff was real and what will happen is real, but there are no guarantees that what will happen will happen. And we also don't have time machines yet to take us back in time to make any adjustments to what's already happened. They're beautiful, wonderful, the best lessons, but we can't change or alter what's happened. All we can do is learn and grow and inspire and teach and motivate others based on what's happened to us, right? We can ebb and flow, we can adapt, we can pivot a little bit quicker in the future because we know we've had this circumstance happen to us or someone around us or, somebody in the, past and we're reading about it. And so, again, life is fragile, I get up and I wake up and I didn't even hear Chris come or go. Like he just poof vanished, usually he'll kind of give me a kiss on the head or whatever. And he just vanished. And, that was okay. I was soundly sleeping. I woke up, I went to my gym. I had a good time. Had an odd thing happen to me in the middle of the class, but I just went with it. And, I had a good workout. I'm going to the gym again tonight only because my instructor, is not going to be there. And he is taking Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday off to go do a conference. And so he's not really off, he's still working, but he's not going to be teaching us. And so all of us are like, what are we going to do for 3 days without you? And he's like, you'll survive, and I'm like, no, you don't understand. We may not. But no, hopefully we will all survive. But it makes you appreciate what you have and it makes you appreciate the moment, and then I came home and again, it's my favorite when it's like those spring weathers where it's got that nice warm but cool breeze and it's beautiful and the sun's out and I feel like I come alive. I take my son to an appointment he had. When we get home, I'm like, hey, would you like to walk with me? And he says, yes. And, I'm a little bit hungry, but I'm like, let's go walk anyways. And so we go walk and I love one of my favorite activities right now because, I love to talk about this stuff. I could talk about it in exhaustion. It's clearly my passion. It's clearly something I'm really just so fascinated with. And not only do I want it to end all be all with me, actually it's a lot more challenging to apply it to my own life than to tell someone else exactly what it is, that I've learned that they should do, because that is like sharing knowledge, applying it, that takes a lot of work, that takes a change. And, but man, if you get me on that pedestal, I will go. Chris had this situation, over the weekend and he was like, oh, I think you have these Q-tips on the counter and the floss. And if I had Q-tips or floss on the counter, I feel like I would use them more often versus I said, yes, this is called priming our environment. And I went on a whole 30-minute spiel to him. And, he was just looking like with a smile, like she's in her flow, just let her go, kind of thing, even though he doesn't always connect to this type of talk, but he just let me do my thing. And, you know, I love having these conversations with Dylan because he's really open to these things. Actually, he comes to me and teaches me things too. So I love this symbiotic relationship where he often not only learns things, or he, you know, one of his favorite like inspirations is Kobe Bryant, and so he loves reading about things about him, and he loves like hearing his quotes and stories and things like that. They really, you know, as an athlete, whether it be an esports athlete, which, you know, he himself is like, this is, you know, I've been an actual in real life athlete, like the two aren't comparable in his eyes, you know, but whether it be in the actual soccer field or in the, you know, virtual realm, he really connects to the athleticism and the discipline and the consistency and the excellence in which they had brought out in themselves. So I love listening to, you know, things. So went for a walk with him in the sun, and I got to have a great conversation with him, and that, you know, just, you know, made my heart feel so warm. And usually when I'm on a walk with my kids, or if I'm doing something, I really don't answer the phone. But I had an unusual number, and I was like, something said I should answer the phone. And so I did. And during the conversation, I, you know, answer, and I find out it's my doctor, and I'm going to try to shut off my ringer. Okay, so make sure it is off. I don't want to get any interruptions. And last week I had to do an ultrasound because it was having some irregularities. And so instead of just kind of brushing it off, I was like, you know, I'm going to go to the doctors. And so I went to the doctors, and sure enough, they sent me for further testing. Testing came back abnormal, and I'm not stressing on it or anything, like whatever it is. But this testing came back abnormal, and we're going to do another procedure. And after that procedure, I'm opting to, I could skip the procedure and just go right into the OR, but I'm opting to let's just figure out exactly what beast it is, and let's figure out the timeline in which, you know, I get back in the OR again. So I'm like, this is a lot of OR visits coming up. I'm not I don't like being down. So between me, my son has to go to there's gonna be like 3 OR visits, and then like even Chris has to do like a colonoscopy, which is just a procedure, but still, you know, it's just something else to add into the bunch. But yeah, it's interesting, right? Like this morning I woke up there, you know, something was there, didn't know about it, even though I was having some strange symptoms. I didn't really necessarily know about it. And you're living life one way, and you get a call, and even though like in your gut and everything, you know, like it's gonna be benign, it's gonna be fine, like even though that's the case, it still gives pause. Like I still have pause, right? Like I am so much more strong and wise, so I'm able to navigate this much differently than before, when they had thought I had I point here because you know, there was like these lymph nodes here. They thought I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So again, this test came back inconclusive, and which requires further testing to exactly figure out what is going on here. But the beauty of it is, I take with me in this now, I take with me this sense of peace. Like prior to this, you know, my son, excuse me, sorry, Dylan, my son was like, oh, we've never walked up these stairs. So we walked up to these different stairs, and there were all these benches, and we're like, hey, they put all these benches here. Let's see why. What was it? What was so appealing about this location that it needed to be bench after bench after bench? And so we sat on the bench, and for a moment we didn't talk. It was just peace. The blue skies and the fluffy white clouds, and the sound of the birds, and the warmth of the sun, and the crisp air. It was just, I just sat there in so much peace. And I don't know if he felt it too. We just, for a few moments, we just didn't talk. We just sat there and we listened, and we were one with our own thoughts, or no thoughts at all. I'm not sure what his experience was. And I felt this overwhelming sense of calm. So to pan to 15 minutes later and get kind of a call from your doctor, like, is now a good time to talk? You know, like, we need to discuss your results. kind of thing, you know, it can be a little bit on the jarring side, right? It's two extreme things. And in another life and pastime, I would have been like completely freaked out and no. Now I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. You know, it's the size of a grape. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna get whatever done. Like, we're good. I'm able to listen to the conversation and be really present in the now and be like, where are we? What information do we have at this time? And what decisions would I like to make? And I have the beauty of every past experience, every brain tumor, every, heart surgery, every knee surgery, every broken arm, every, ultrasound, MRI, every single thing, every experience with my uncle having, strokes and heart attacks and my auntie having cancer. Like, I take all that knowledge with me. So, question after question, I'm asking to make a decision on what avenue I believe is best for me at this time. And I don't have doubt. I have all this confidence because I know, like, I'm asking great questions. I'm not just leaving the decision on the table for someone else to make. I'm being a active advocate and for my own health. And I think that that's such a powerful tool. Health is wealth. That is the one thing I know for damn sure. So many of us, right? Out of necessity, out of society, out of what we were taught, we are in this chase for wealth. And we all just, many of us, consider wealth or success to be connected to finances. And this I will tell you for sure, for what I've learned in my life and what I've physically witnessed. I have seen the wealthiest of people. I have my auntie, her mom, had millions of dollars in the bank and had over $10 million in a high prime neighborhood, 6 units in San Francisco, right down the street from the Fairmont Hotel. Like, literally you can walk there. Prime neighborhood, $10 million, and all she wanted to do was go home. She did not have her physical health. And it didn't matter the number of that financial wealth. She did not have the life that she wanted as a result of her physical health. That reminder has stuck out to me because for so long, I too believed success, that worthiness, that, quality of life, they were all connected to being wealthy. That was the goal. That was what I was taught, was your job is to get the best paying job. And it doesn't matter if you're happy. It doesn't matter if it makes you unhealthy. You just get that dollar bill, y'all. And that's going to cause all your problems to go away. And if it doesn't, you can just buy your way out of it. You can get yourself on vacation. You can get yourself a purse or a pair of shoes or get your nails done or your hair done, and you'll be happy. And I'm here to tell you that's false. At least for me, it was false. Yes, those things can bring temporary happiness, right? Like, you can have moments. But even on my cruise, when I'm thinking I'm going to be the happiest, and there were moments that I was the happiest in my entire life, there are also moments on that ship in which I was the saddest person in my life. I had got a notification from Chris saying he's moving out in the matter of a few days. He's not picking me up. He's going out, which left me to the assumption that perhaps there's somebody else. He's taking my son with him. And even though my son is much older, just the idea and the concept that all these things were happening when I was on this ship, it broke my spirit. And my dad's like, well, why are you crying? Like, your guys' relationship wasn't. And I just was so broken hearted. My heart was broken. I felt so abandoned and deceived and hurt. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, you can be on the best vacation and still have things happen that hurt you and harm you and break you. And what I do know is this, that without your health, you have such an altered state of living, right? My kids, for whatever reason, some were born this way, some were born this way and then had accidents, like terrible accidents, like freak accidents. Like, one kid was one time raising his hand to tell his teammate to, like, send the ball over here, and somebody ran into his arm at the shoulder and his arm broke. what? Like, a lot of broken bones. They drink a lot of milk and they did vitamins. I don't know. Getting the sun. I don't know. They don't have vitamin deficiencies, but it darn near seemed like it. And so wealth, like, is defined for me by our health. And that could be your physical health. It definitely could be your mental health. It could be your emotional health, your spiritual health. It is all in combination for that. So to get this information that perhaps there's something going on with my physical health. And not only so, it wasn't just like an incidental finding. It was, oh, it's a symptomatic thing. You know, it can give you some pause for concern. But here's the thing. I do believe that I have learned from all these experiences, don't delay, right? Like, get your annual exams. You know, we have a family friend and a coach to my kids, someone who's been very near and dear, and they too have 3 sons. And it was a routine physical that he did blood work and the number came back irregular. That led them on the trail to diagnose him with prostate cancer and then to get him on the trail of getting treatment early. And he now is healthy and cancer free. So health is wealth. Without your health, there is nothing, right? And yeah, sometimes we're struggling and sometimes things hurt. You hear me complain, my back, you know, or, you know, I'm having things going on, or even within the time when my sons were having seizures or in congestive heart failure or all these things, there's still moments in there when there's health, right? Like, or knee surgeries where you can't walk and you have these able teenagers who are athletes look at you with the most sincere eyes and say, I forgot how to lift my leg. How do you lift your leg, Mom? And you're suddenly stopping and thinking like, I don't know, I just do it. I just do it. And I can't even explain how I do it, but I do. I just lift my leg, right? And so we take it for granted. We don't even know the mechanisms behind lifting your leg. We don't think about it as we're walking down the street or crawling into bed or off the sofa. We just do it. And we take for granted that we're going to always be able to do it. But today is a reminder that, number one, enjoy what you have while you have it. Today I'm going to enjoy my dance classes, and I'm going to enjoy my dance classes. I'm not going to sit here and consume my time and be like, oh, I'm not going to have them for the next 3 days. No, I'm appreciating what I do have. And I'm appreciating the fact that I can either go to the classes that people are subbing, or I can try something new, or I can give my body a rest. I have choices and options. Same thing goes for this. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the outcome is going to be, but I have a pretty good feeling that things are going to be just fine. I have a pretty good feeling that I'm going to be okay. I have a pretty good feeling that this is just a reminder of the fragility of life. And you know, my daughter has been going through a lot of things, and of course it's the easiest to take it on her parents. And guess what? Some things deservedly so, far from perfect. Like, no, as hard as I work here and as hard as I work on myself, it doesn't mean it always translates as quickly and swiftly as I would want it to with the relationships around me, right? Like I've said it before here I was telling my son for his own, like, you know, in getting better for his own playing is you got to take care of you. Your foundation, like the most basic things, like for him is the proper water, the proper sleep, and the proper food. Like that's like basic. And that goes for us too. And getting a schedule and adhering to it, having habits that are healthy and inducive to where this life that you're wanting to grow into is. And is so important. And so, you know, I get something like this, right? I hear something like this, and as stoic and strong and as wise as I am, it also makes me want to go and shake my daughter and be like, Mama's not always going to be here. And I know I'm annoying. And I know our living conditions are less than optimal. I wish I could give you the biggest room in the house. I wish I could give you everything you ever wanted. I'm your mom. There's nothing more I want to do than to see you happy and thrive. But on the same turn, it comes to the time in life where I understand that their happiness is independent of me. And I never want them to be in a position, like my uncle used to say all the time, is, you know, like, you should see your grandma, you should go call your grandma. And I often did, but then there were times that I got so busy with the kids, right? Like, and by the time I laid down, it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm still working for the business. Like, there just wasn't a lot of time. And so there is this sense of regret that I could have called more. I should have found more time, right? Like, because now she's not here. So when it came to my uncle, I really, really worked hard, and I took that experience with my grandma that I didn't necessarily, for that gap in time of life when being a mom was my priority. My kids were my priority, and there wasn't one, two, three. There were four of them, and there wasn't one sick kid. There wasn't just two sick kids. There were four kids with major life things going on. Clinical trials, heart surgeries, brain surgeries, knee surgeries, you know, therapy appointments. Like, there was so much on top of just school and extracurriculars and guiding them and cooking dinners and conversating and playing games and making sure that they were well-rounded beyond what they're learning in school. And so sometimes I just want to shake them and say, I know it seems like mom's always here. Our mom's always going to be here, because I always have been. Mom's always had their back. You know, they've walked past Chris, they've walked past others and came to mom and asked for help. And I'm so glad and honored that I got to be that person in their life. But I also am a realist in knowing that I've lost so many people that were not necessarily my mom, but were the equivalent to. And boy, what would I give for just one more conversation? Boy, what would I give to just be like, why did I give her grief at this time? Like, boy, what would I give for just that opportunity again? And so with my uncle and my aunt, I feel like I did a much better job. I still was very much in the thick of parenting, but I did say, lesson learned. I really did miss this time with my grandma, and these two people have invested so much in me and continue to do so and share so much wisdom with me. They bestow these beautiful, priceless gifts onto me that I could never repay them directly, but I could continue on as their legacy, sharing with you, sharing with my kids, my friends, my family, anyone who listen, a stranger, you know, is part of their legacy. It's part of their life being shared with others, and the lessons that were learned by them or, you know, taught to me by them continues to keep them alive. And, you know, it's really important. So yes, so today is a little bit of a reminder. And again, as their parent, I want to shake them. I don't, you know, want to obviously, you know, sit here and be like, okay, you know, like, it's not like we need to sit down and pull out a family meeting. Like, let's figure out what's going on first. And then, you know, I can have a little convo with them. But, you know, I want them to be reminded, as always, I remind you here, that life is fragile and precious. I mean, yesterday was my youngest son's soccer banquet. And so, you know, they do the accolades and they congratulate kids and, you know, basically celebrate the participation. It's hard to be a student athlete, right? It's a big commitment. It's difficult times. It's hard on the families. You know, it's difficult, right? It's a cost, a time, and yet here we are, all volunteering our time, our efforts. You know, nobody's doing it to get rich, and but they're doing it for the kids. And, you know, one young man I saw there, I was so excited to see him. And I've talked about his family on here, and you know, they're the ones that his mom had passed away on Valentine's Day. Well, they got in a car accident on Valentine's Day. She passed away a couple days later, and then he was in a coma for months. They didn't know if he was going to make it. His head had swollen so much from the force of the accident, and he's had brain surgeries, he has had and here he is, and because of circumstances in life, you know, his dad and two younger brothers this year, a few months ago, moved back to Brazil, and he wanted to continue his education here, so he's attending college, and it's spring break, so he's staying with his family that's here that he had helped coach with. And you know, it's just a beautiful thing to get to talk to him. And I look at him and I think, my gosh, you know, there's times that I think I'm brave and I'm strong. And I say, I don't know if I would have been able to do that, right? Like, to stay here and not have that as support. But we have this new community. He does have the support. He has the support of this extension of his family that he's created through sports, and his parents have, and his own thing. So I think it's very beautiful to know that like you're never really alone, and that there is a community out there for you. And it's just this reminder of the fragility of life. I mean, I look at him all the time, and every time I see him, my heart just, it gives pause, because I'm just like, I'm so grateful he's here. I'm so grateful that life had it, that the doctors were wrong, and he was able to not only survive, but he's in college. He's a freshman in college, and he's not doing it the easy way, right? Like, he is in a country alone, and his nearest relative is on a different continent. And so I'm so proud of him, and I'm so grateful. But there's a piece of me that my heart always breaks, right? So he was sitting in front of me, and I was sitting next to another woman who was sitting next to another woman who was sitting in front of another woman, or behind another woman. And it ended up being we all three, and even he is one of three sons. And so it was so interesting to have this conversation. And his younger brother, used to be on the team. So he would have been the third son as well his younger brother, but he was a middle child, so there's still one more underneath him. That it's interesting to hear like all these three boys, and I was the only crazy one in there to throw in a girl. But it was crazy to be around somebody that was like, I know what your experience is like. I know what it's like to have three boys, and he too being part of that. And so I just think that, again, like I said, with today's news, today's information that was given to me about my own personal health, it is this reminder. And again, I feel like I'm so grateful that I'm finally in a place in my life where I'm living a life for me that makes me proud. Because in this moment, for me personally, I don't have any regrets. If, something, like isn't exactly the way I want it to go, I don't have any regrets. I'm not waiting until I get news that I'm going to die to live. I am living my life now. Doing this is living. Sharing the stories of the people I am so blessed and fortunate to interact with. That is living. We are symbiotes. We are sharing with one another. And I love that. And there's nothing else I would rather do with my life. I'm so grateful I found a community in my dance community, and they will reach out to me and say, I have this for you. Like, here, you're part of our membership now. We all think of one another. I had a friend reach out today and say, my daughter and granddaughter are moving out. I'm so excited. We're going to do a Russian and Ukrainian meal, and I want you there. Like, I'm so lucky and blessed. I have this family that even when my daughter is annoyed with me, like, I know I have my 19-year-old son is taking a walk with me and talking philosophical stuff, right? Like, I have my kids who, when I am going to an event yesterday, my other son drove, even though he's, not necessarily feels very confident. He did it for me. They show up. They're doing what they can. And they do tell me they love me. They come in and have conversations. So in that aspect, I don't have any regrets. I've lived a lovely, lovely life. And I have a lot more to go. Like, I'm living to 107. So we are good on that aspect. But I'm just here to say, like, live a life that makes you proud now. There's so many times that I delayed and I want to put it off till Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or next week or when the kids graduate or this or that. The time is now. This is the only real thing. There is no guarantee we're going to have tomorrow. And living in the past, we can't get it back. We can't redo it. We can learn from it, which is great. That's amazing, right? Like, no loss for learning. So this is my reminder to you. What can you do to live a life that makes you proud? What are the things that make you feel alive that you can do all day long? That if, God forbid, you get some kind of notice or get hit by somebody in the car or do things like that, and that's it. Like, I want you to live in a way that said, yeah, I'm happy. I did what I wanted to do. That is what you're supposed to be doing. That is life. It's not about the numbers in a bank so that you can leave a legacy to your kids or grandkids or great grandkids of wealth. The wealth that you can leave them is knowledge and health. So please go out there today, give yourself a big smile and give yourself a compliment. Today, I'm going to compliment myself and say, you know what? I am so proud of your personal growth and strength and your ability to always look for the good and positive and lesson in every situation. And I'm going to ask you to please go out there today and share your kindness. I'm going to say share your kindness with everybody out there. Give at least one person a big smile of yours and give them a compliment and just watch how they glow up. And when they glow up, you glow up together. Mwah. Bye.